Hi everyone, my name is Parth and I'm back with another video tutorial. This video tutorial talks about the concept of Web API in ASP.NET. So let's begin. The agenda would be we would start by knowing what is ASP.NET Web API. Then we'll see when do we use Web API over WCF. We'll see all the scenarios. Followed by we'll see the new features which are provided by Microsoft in the Web API version 2, which are Owen, OAuth 2, Course. We'll see some other features as well, and then we'll end the presentation. So what is ASP.NET Web API? So Web API is nothing but it's a fully supported and an extensible framework for building HTTP-based endpoints. So you might have seen in some of the websites, you see that you can say that you see the weather forecast, right? You see today's climate, the temperature, whether it would be sunny or raining today. So that is one simple example of a web API. So web API basically is a framework built on top of ASP.NET, which provides us with some HTTP based endpoints, which we can use in our applications, be it web applications or other applications. Now there were total 3 versions of web API. So version 1.0 was released with MVC4 in August 2012. Then came version 2.0, which was a major release, which came in ASP.NET MVC5 for .NET version 4.5 and above in October 2013. And then a minor release came with the version 2.1, which was on 17 Jan 2014 in the market. Now we know that we have web services, WCF as well, apart from .NET Web API. So when do we use we can say web service or WCF, and when we use web API? So we use service or WCF if we are limited to .NET 3.5. Okay, if let's say our application is built on top of .NET 3.5 and not above, then we can have to use WCF. Or if we are exposing some SOAP-based services, right? SOAP means Simple Object Access Protocol. So if your applications are based on those protocols, you use WCF. Or if you need to support multiple protocols, not only HTTP, let's say TCP IP, right? Let's say HTTPS. So use WCF. Or if you need web service security transaction to happen, you use WCF. Or if you want to achieve security at the message level, then you go for WCF. But if you talk about web API, then web API is used when you want to reach cross-platform clients and devices. I mean to say, like you want to reach a wider audience, wider population, and that is possible through cross-platform because someone is using Android phone, someone is using a Mac PC, someone is using a Windows desktop, right? So for that case, you go for web API. And if you want to just use the HTTP protocol and take the advantage of that protocol, you go for web API. Now let's see what is new in the web API version 2. So there are many features. First, we'll see from the standpoint of the architecture and the integration of Owen with the Katana. Then we'll see to the security perspective, we'll see 2 things. We'll see OAuth and Course. Then we'll see some other features like attribute routing, right? And web API client, which is portable in nature. And then we'll see these new things, HTTP response and IHTTP action result, which were introduced in Web API version 2.0. So what is Owen? Oven is an abbreviation or a short form for Open Web Interface for .NET. So you can go to the website www.oven.org to get more details. So basically, it's nothing but it's a specification defines a kind of you can say simple and a common or a shared interface that basically is used to decouple the web apps from the web services. And it is being used in .NET because earlier it was being used with Node.js, Rack, and other technologies. So .NET got the inspiration from there. Basically, Microsoft got the inspiration from there, and they started using Oven in .NET as well. Oven is deeply integrated with .NET Pipeline. So .NET Pipeline basically means like your authentication, then your authorization, then your application flow, right? So a simple example can be when you try to run an authenticating middleware during the authenticating ASP.NET Pipeline stage. That is example of Oven. You can also run our web APIs on many Oven compliant hosts. And one such is the Katana, which is the Microsoft's Oven implementation. Why we go for Oven in web API? So you know that we have IIS on top of which we have .NET framework installed inside and over which we are deploying our web application or our web API, right? So even if we have a small web application, we have a large footprint, right? Can be accessible to everyone, right? And the second thing is that system.web is too large to maintain and can't support frequent release cycles. Okay, that's outside the limit of system.web provided by Microsoft. So that's why we go for Oven. Now, as I mentioned, Katana is the Oven, you can say, host for Microsoft. So the architecture is very simple. You have an application or like a web application, right? You have a middleware. The middleware you can have different frameworks like Web API or SignalR or some custom like Oven or OAuth or Course, right? Then you have server, right? Which has different protocols and bindings like TCP and HTTP. And you have a host, right? Like it can be an IIS or any service, right? Let's understand the data flow, how data flows in Katana. So as I mentioned, you have four things. You can see here, you have a host, that is, we can say an IIS. You have a server, you have a web application or a web API, and you have a middleware, which you can see is divided into different chunks. So whenever a request comes, an HTTP request comes to the server, it goes to the middleware. Okay. In middleware, you can see on the right side, we are using Oven. So Oven has different things, right? You can use authentication using Oven. You can do course, right? Hosting, security, diagnostics. There are so many different things you can do using Oven. And then once it's authenticated, it goes to the web API to get the data. And we get the data back as the HTTP response from the server to our browser. Next is web API security. So from a security standpoint, we consider security at three places in web API. One is security in transit, like when you request is in transit. There is okay, it's in between the client and the server. So SSL is always a good option, right? Which is HTTPS. Securing the API itself is the second consideration. Like whenever you are creating an API, you should have some authentication authorization mechanisms to secure it. And last is browser security. So you should implement CORS, basically cross origin resource sharing, so that your web API will only allow certain URLs so that it's secured. Not everyone can access your web API. Now, when we talk about authentication authorization on the web API, we have different options. Like if we are communicating from server to server, we can use API keys or some secrets or shared keys, right? We can use proxy, which is basically an OAuth mechanism or similar to that. And if it's a direct user, we can implement something like token based authentication or Windows or Forms authentication, HTTP based authentication like Basic and Digest. And we can also go for digital signature. Let's go for OAuth. So what is OAuth? OAuth is a authentication technique, okay, which basically involves a protocol which allows more secure authorization in a simple and standard method by granting a token, and it is cross-platform. So for allowing other APIs or applications to act as a user for your web API, you accept their user credential, then you give a then you trust a third party or this credentials with a token that represent your another API, and then the other API never receives the credentials. So it's like they only just communicate through the tokens. So this is the flow. So when a user browses to a web application redirects to user to authentication service. Now user will send their credentials to this authentication service login page. This authentication service returns some kind of a token or access token to user agents and redirects that agent or the client back to the web application. Now user will provide that access token to the web application. Web application validate the access token, and if it is valid, the web application will return the response to the user agent. Otherwise, it will give an unauthorized message to the user. Next is CORS, which stands for Cross Origin Resource Sharing. So let's say you have a API, right? And in your API, you don't want to allow all the domains or all the URLs to access your web API. So you can see this example. We are having a website www.domain1.com, and you have two web servers, right? On web server one, it's basically dedicated for domain one only. So you don't have to implement codes there. You just get the request and you get back the response. But if you see when someone is trying to access the web API of domain2.com web server, and their web application has domain one as the domain name. So here we implement codes, cross-region resource sharing, where in the request header we'll give the origin, and in the response header we will also give the origin. Okay, so if you have enabled the origin value as domain1.com also, your web server of domain2.com can accept this web application request. They can send back the response. Otherwise, you will get an unauthorized message. So in course, we have a concept of HTTP headers. So in the request, we give the origin. Origin means like the URL. Then we give the request method, like what all methods can they access, like get, put, post, delete, patch, options. Similarly, in the response headers we have, which is the web API, we can define an origin, we can define methods, credentials we can give like username and password, and we can give a age also. Let's move to some other features of web API too. So next is attribute routing. So attribute routing is a concept which is separate from conventional based routing, which means you are giving the route some names, okay, and you put that over the controller or the action method, right? So which basically means bringing your routes closer to your resources. So you can see the conventional based routing is you have api.config where you have this map HTTP route where you give the routes. But attribute routing, basically what you do, you give your name of your route over your action method. So let's see some example. So first is you can give the attribute routing in the app start folder in web API config file you can give. Okay, like you see the first example. Then you can give the optional values like you see as a HTTP get. So zip code in the second example is optional. So it has a question mark. Then you can give attribute routing with default values like you see in the third example zip code value are given. And then you can give some inline constraints like In the first example, you see that ID must be in, and the last example, you see that name it will only take as alpha, right? So these are the different examples of attribute routing. Next feature Web API 2 provides is portability of ASP.NET Web API client. So this has some advantages like we don't have to maintain multiple client libraries for phone and store our desktop applications. Okay, we now have a single portable library that can be used to consume APIs from Windows phones or Windows Stores app or any other client which is running on .NET version 4.5 and above. Okay, and this support is built on the recently released portable HTTP client and the portable library which is supported in JSON.NET. Next feature is we have a concept of HTTP response and iHTTP action result. So if I talk about Web API 1, we can return any object and let the Web API pipeline convert that to an HTTP response message. And the return HTTP response message has the HTTP header and the body in it. Whereas in case of Web API 2, iHTTP action result is used, which is like a factory implementation of HTTP response message. And since it's a factory implementation, so it provides us more control over the returned HTTP response message value. After Web API 2.0, we have a minor version which was released, which is Web API version 2.1, which also has some new features like global error handling. Okay, so you can handle the error in a global way. You can have some improvements were done to attribute routing, right? Also, you have some improvements on the page lifecycle. You have some support to ignore some routes. You have better support for filters, which are async in nature. And you also have the capability of passing the query for the client formatting library in Web API version 2.1. So that's it from my end. I guess you might have got a little idea about the concept of ASP.NET Web API. So I will see you in some other video very soon. Thank you.